want the Republic to fall? It already has, and you just can't see it. There is no justice, no law, no order, except for the one that will replace it.
Hello there, guys. Darth Christensen here. Welcome back to another Star Wars video. And holy fucking shit, Maul Shadow Lord episodes 3 and 4 were incredible. The lightsaber action, Maul having a commanding presence and aura, the way that he's manipulating Devon, the amount of heavy foreshadowing in this episode, and also Kevin Kiner's score, is just, everything's just firing on all cylinders in this show so far. This is exactly what Disney should have been doing from the start, with the show from a Darksider's perspective, from the Darksider's perspective. And that's one of my favorite things about the show so far, is that it's showing a different side of Maul, and it's basically like showing a transitional period in his life after Revenge of the Sith, where eventually we're going to see him transition into the old man version of him in Rebels. So the way that he's like trying to turn Devon to the dark side, I think it's definitely like very, very similar to the way that he's trying to turn Ezra. Because the way that he's like trying to calmly lure in him with the way that he's like pouring the tea, and then he's like casually just rage baiting her, telling her about how she's too weak to embrace the dark side, and how he keeps trying to convince her that she doesn't miss the Jedi Code that much after the Empire wiped them out after Order 66. And this also basically just confirmed my theory. I posted a the other day about how I think Maul made an upgrade to his saber where he can split it in two, because Devon takes half of Maul's saber, which is his hilt right here, or with the way that Maul's like sparring with her. And you can definitely tell that Maul was easily toying with her, because he would have destroyed her if he went full ham, because we've seen how brutal he can be with one saber blade. And also later in the episode, when Maul goes to finish off the pikes, he brings another Zabrak. He uses one of his other Zabrak brothers as a trap, and then when Maul comes in, he activates one and part of his lightsaber to cut the pike leader in half, which is fucking insane. I am just loving and living for the lightsaber action in the show. And I'm also loving how crispy the lightsaber. I'm also loving how crispy the lightsaber sound design is. How crispy the lightsaber sound design is, and how the blades have like a painting swooshing effect every time Maul and the other Jedi swing him around. The big thing that stood out to me as part of the lightsaber fights was when Maul was fighting both Devon and her master. When Maul was fighting both Devon and her master, and he did like a spin kick, and he did like a scream almost. That sounded exactly like Palpatine. What Palpatine did when he fought Mace Windu and all the other Jedi in Revenge of the Sith.
It's treason, then.
And the fact that Sam Witwer literally built his screaming to be part of the saber swinging thinking is just insanely cool to me. I think it makes a lot of sense too, because the way that Sith bleed their crystals, the crystal's basically in pain, so it would make sense that it would be screaming almost. It would be screaming almost with every swing. And so that's just the attention to detail is just next level. This is the type of passion that I want to see more of in Star Wars going forward. And so the way that Devon's acting impulsive, because you can see that even in her conversations with Master Daki, she's trying to figure out how if she can work with Maul to find more Jedi survivors, but her master is definitely very aware that he used to be a Sith Lord, and they may have a common enemy against the Empire right now, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be allies. So I find that dichotomy really interesting. So I think that the way that Devon's leading more towards the dark side, I think it's pretty obvious that they're foreshadowing her to become at least the canon version of Darth Talon. Even if she doesn't end up taking the name of Darth Talon, she can, and the parallels are just undeniable, because it's a Twi'lek being manipulated to the dark side by Maul. Also, I really hope that towards the end of this, maybe Maul will bestow the name of Talon upon her after if her master dies to the Inquisitors and she'll have no one left to run to, then Maul will have to like train her for a little bit until we see Maul towards his time in Solo, where he eventually has to like switch over to training Kira, because Maul's actually pretty chill with his apprentices. Not gonna lie, with the way that he was training Savage, with with the way that he was training Savage, and also he was acting pretty chill with Ezra, but I think that was part of his whole plan to try to get him to the Sith holocron on Malachor. And it's very similar to how Palpatine tried to manipulate Anakin, being calm and charismatic on the surface, but deep down he's basically like an evil dark side devil. So I am absolutely loving the way they're doing Maul in this show, and of course the big part, my favorite part of the entire episode, when Maul fought both Devon and Master Daki, he 1v2 in the lightsaber fight. This is like my favorite lightsaber. This was probably like the most intense lightsaber fight I've seen from animation in years, or from now, bro. Because it's exactly like when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fought Maul in the Phantom Menace, and like I mentioned, Maul using the Force Scream is such an awesome attention to detail. It's such an awesome attention to detail, and just like, oh my god, it's so good. Like Kevin Kiner's score just like ramping up the tension, especially when Maul's crew of Mandalorians and Zabraks fighting the police force at the same time. And then the way that Maul tells Devon that she's very fortunate to have his master at his side. Oh my god, it's so good, dude. It's so good, dude. Now, this is some of the best lightsaber action I've seen in years. And the ending. Speaking of Kevin Kiner's score, I love the way that they did the Imperial March at the very end of Episode 4, or when the Star Destroyer started hovering over Janix, and it's because Two Boots called up the Empire, so that dude, the way that like the Imperial March started playing, I had got major chills because now I see that shit's getting real. So with this in mind, I can definitely see that the Inquisitors are most definitely going to show up next week, and we're going to get that fight where Maul is going to fight some of the Inquisitors on the train. And with Maul beating both of the Inquisitors' asses, I think this definitely has to get the attention of either Palpatine or Vader. So then maybe like Vader could like make a cameo at the end of the show, and they could finally have the big Vader versus Maul fight that we've been begging for ever since Rebels. Now I think that when Maul, either one of the Inquisitors will die, because I know that Marok's probably going to die, but I think maybe either one of them, Maul probably kills either one of them, then one of the Inquisitors gets away and then reports to Vader about Maul's existence, and then that will get Vader involved towards the finale. So that will just be an absolutely insane fight. And could you imagine if like Maul were to like talk shit about Qui-Gon, and then that would send Vader into a fit of rage in a big lightsaber fight? That would just be like the best moment in all of Star Wars history, hands down. And another thing I wanted to point out real quick as like a comic book guy is that at the beginning when Maul was like having a conversation with Devon, he brings up of how like Palpatine he casted him aside and how he killed Savage, but he also brings up about how his mother Talzin was murdered too. That I think is a direct reference to Son of Dathomir, because in that comic, General Grievous killed Mother Talzin. And then after Maul had to escape from Dathomir. So I think this is it, guys. They could be building up towards a Son of Dathomir flashback. I'm really hoping for it. I really hope they give it to us, because if you're going to be exploring more of Maul's emotional turmoil, then you have to show during a pretty traumatic period in his life when he was like very pissed off and resentful towards Palpatine after he killed both Savage and Mother Talzin at the same time. But yeah, that was kind of just like a side tangent. But either way, these episodes were absolutely incredible. And I just can't stress enough how good it feels to actually be excited for a new Star Wars show. And I haven't felt this way ever since 2023. And I haven't felt this way since 2023, where I'm like guessing and speculating and theorizing about what's going to happen next. And I'm super excited for next week. I can't wait to see how gorgeous the lightsaber fights between Maul and the Inquisitors look. And I'm just hoping and praying we can either get like a cameo from either Palpatine through a hologram. He's probably going to have less of a presence, because if he were to show up and fight Maul again, he'd absolutely destroy Maul in a lightsaber fight like he did before. So I think that I'm betting on Vader having more screen time, and so we can finally get the Maul versus Vader fight later down the line. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. of Maul episodes 3 and 4, and leave a comment down below what stood out to you the most. And what do you think of the lightsaber fights? But yeah, have a great rest of your day. May the Force be with you always.
Yes, the one we've been looking for.
How do you know this?
He knows the ways of the Force. He's been trained to use the dark side.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.